All right, folks, gather around, gather around. Today we're talking about my personal journey of going from $0 a month to $10,000 plus a month with freelancing. This kind of predates my e-commerce success, which is more recent, but I'd like this channel and some of these videos to be a resource for people who are starting out, for people who are looking for those, how to crack into it. How do you crack into this freelancing entrepreneur make money world? There's tons of videos about it. And I know when I was coming up, the specific stories of how people did it, how they got their first clients, how they made it happen, how they broke through the limiting beliefs. I love those stories. And so on that note, I will start from there and we'll just kind of walk through some of that. So let's get comfortable and let's dive into it. So this is going back just over 2 years now, 2.5 years. And it was my third serious go at copywriting. So this is the first thing that might be of interest is I think a lot of people take a few swings at this stuff. And it was not my first swing at business or e-commerce or anything like that. Like I had a failed brand. I had a failed brand in 2019 or 2018, like a keto brand that I spent a lot of money on. And then didn't even launch. Longer story for another video. But the way I want to tee this up is that, I was slowly getting dragged into this entrepreneurial circle, but I couldn't pick my business model. So it was the failed brand. Then I was going to do like anxiety coaching. I bought Sam Evans consulting.com course, which is still a great course. And what I was going to do with that was coaching for anxiety, started pitching people on that. Long story short though, I started to hear about this thing called copy, and I was like, what is that? And people are like, oh, it's the words, and it helps people buy. And I was like, what the heck? Like, why do the words matter? Like, that's how early on I was in this game of not even understanding that. And I literally didn't see the value in it. It was so funny. But this is after, copywriting had very much had its effect on me, getting me to buy stuff, getting me to watch videos, getting me to consume and buy courses. So I bought Sam's Consulting, and I think it was during COVID, 2021 maybe, spring of 2021, and started working through that. And it was the summer after that I was already writing an email newsletter, and I started to realize, okay, maybe this writing thing is how I can actually make money. And so I started, without really knowing anything, I started to just pitch people that summer. I bought a course from AWAI. They're like one of the older info course sellers for copywriting. It's decent content. I don't know if I'd recommend their courses now, but AWAI, you can check it out. They have some great resources for just reading sales letters, because they have great sales letters for selling you on their products. But it was that summer, I started sending out emails, and I actually got a few replies at that point from people. I was literally sending out these crazy outreach like paragraphs, and I thought copywriting was kind of just being like weird and high energy, and there's something to that. But anyways, kind of cringe messages I was sending out. Did get some replies, got on a call with one guy, didn't go anywhere. Some replies back, didn't sign any clients from that, and then kind of gave up on that over that summer. I just let it slide. I had another side hustle that was making me some money, more like carpentry stuff, totally kind of unrelated, but gave up on it. That winter, I have another go at it again in January, and that's when I did land a small project for $1,200 to rewrite someone's website. And this is relevant though, because it was around this time that my network was slowly starting to grow. I was listening to podcasts. I was becoming more connected with people who were doing online businesses. I had a newsletter. I sent out a weekly newsletter and just shared it on Facebook. It was like a few subscribers, but it was just little steps of momentum that did move the needle forward. And it was because of sharing that newsletter that another guy got on that newsletter, a friend of mine, Greg, who I've done podcasts with. If you go back on this channel, that's how I met, or that's how I got to know Greg, kind of. He got on my newsletter. He said I was decent at copywriting. Started to make some of these connections. So I was having that second try at copywriting. I got a little bit of momentum. I got $1,200 gig, a few small gigs. I got $1,000 a month copywriting gig through that. I didn't do a great job delivering on it. I honestly just didn't treat the client like, it was a tough one. They weren't set up for success, and then I didn't really know what I was doing. So it only lasted a few months, and then they said they weren't going to do it anymore. And I was kind of like, yeah, I kind of get that. I didn't know the value I was providing, and the email list wasn't that big and all that. So that was $1,000 a month. And then the other one I had was from an agency that was, I think $400 a month for like 4 emails or something. And did a few landing pages for them as well. This is when I was just really learning. So I did get a little bit of success. That this is like almost a year after, 8 months after the first go. But then the same thing happened that summer. I still had that other side hustle. It was kind of random. I was making tiki bars and selling them to people. It was great cash. So then the same thing happened. Let the copywriting slide again. So now we're a year and a half coming into the fall of 2022. I was a year and a half into it. And I basically decided I had to make it work. That was when I found, at the time, it was Cashflow Syndicate with Mason Dewar, Cardinal Mason, and his old partner, David. Both good follows on Twitter. Both have their own things now. But got into their course, and those guys were great. They were like, listen, all that matters is do outreach, and all that matters is you smash the limiting beliefs that you can't make 5, 10, 20K a month. You're going to do it. You need to just send messages and get clients and figure it out. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to commit to this for 3 months and see what happens. And that's what I did. I just got obsessed. It was helpful being in that online community. At the time, it was like a Discord, just a freelancing Discord. They would do calls. They kind of had a course attached to it, but the whole thing was like, I was like, okay, I'm going to learn email marketing and for e-com. And I started studying that. I started just pitching, was trying to send like hundreds of messages a day. It was probably more like an average of like, I don't know, 10, 15. Some days would be like 50. Some days, whatever. But within 3 months, I landed my first big client. It was a legit e-com brand, and they were doing already 6-figure months. And I just pitched them straight up. As soon as I heard the volume they were doing, I already knew that I thought I could bring value, because I sent them a sample. People were, he liked the sample, and I knew I was like kind of decent at copywriting at this point. Anyways, long story short, get on a call. It was the perfect timing. They liked me, and I got on with them for $2,500 USD retainer and 2.5% of email revenue generated. And so the idea in my head was, okay, if they're at 100K and they're growing, as soon as I can get the email revenue to 100K, then I can, that's 5K a month American. That's like 7,500 a month Canadian. So it's like, that's a whale of a client for me. That changed everything. That was like 6 weeks into just being obsessed about sending outreach, feeling kind of stupid because I didn't have like I didn't want a job, but I just like, it felt almost dumb sitting at my laptop being basically broke. I had a few very small gigs with my friend Greg doing some email copy for him, but that kind of changed everything, landing that client, because they grew very quickly. And I got to, within a few months, I stacked on a few other smaller clients, nothing like that. But that client alone with the rev share, which we readjusted, but that client alone at the peak was over 10K a month. And they were doing serious numbers. And I drove some pretty crazy numbers with email, but that changed everything. And so that's another part of this topic. I know I'm kind of giving you the long story here, is that you just kind of need one good opportunity for things to really take off. This was my third swing at copywriting. This is my third kind of, this has to work. I just need cash. At this point, I'm leaving behind, I'm trying to humble myself, because so many people are like, oh, which opportunity am I passionate about, and this and that. And I was like, I know I just need to learn the skill, get paid. I knew I was interested in kind of self-improvement, health brands, that kind of thing. So those were the people I was targeting, because I was just interested in that, and I knew I could write for those brands. But aside from that, it was like, just close the deal, just get an opportunity. And getting an opportunity is what you need to get. That's what you need to pursue. Find that opportunity, because it is hard to be that opportunity yourself. It's hard to create that from scratch when you don't have any momentum or connections or proof or anything. That's where I do believe that service and freelancing and going to find someone that you can be useful to, that can be that opportunity that allows you to cut your teeth, that allows you to get some results. I remember just screenshotting like the Discord messages from the CEO who was like, dude, you killed it, like 60K this weekend, or dude, that email, that email generated this much already. And I'm screenshotting these as testimonials because I'm like, this is sick. Like, I'm getting results. My copy's good enough. So you need that opportunity, because when you're starting out, you don't know how good you are. You don't know if you're worth the 2K a month that they're telling you to charge and all that. So you need that opportunity, and you need to pursue something in a serious enough fashion that you get the chance, because that's just literally it. Most people will give up. Like I gave up the two times before. I gave up. And you need to pursue that opportunity, or that you need to pursue that one skill or that one offer till you get an opportunity. That's kind of it. On the side, yes, you should be documenting it. And I wish I'd kind of done that more. Like I was trying to grow on Twitter, but I had no idea how to do that. I still kind of don't. But sharing your experience, sharing the wins. I did this for a client. One thing I did do was create a little landing page with a demonstration of my copy and some of these screenshotted testimonials, which I think is a great thing to do, because you can kind of show that to someone else who works with you. But honestly, none of the clients I had really looked at websites. It was all based off the samples I had done. One other thing I'll mention is that building your portfolio of samples is a great thing to do, because you can show, even if you didn't work for someone, you can show, oh, I wrote these, and so forth. Another client that I landed during that time, and I was just really clever about it, was a guy. I'd listened to his podcast a lot. He had a info product, and I just knew his tone. I knew what he liked, and I really worked on a kind of a clever pitch to do some work for him. And it almost sounded like I'd kind of read his mind, just because I'd listened to his podcast. I started to figure out the projects he was working on. He had some e-commerce brands on the go. He had an info product. And so I kind of was creatively reached out saying, hey, I'd love to write some stuff, or I heard you might need some stuff, or here's a free email. Basically like that. You got to get creative. I know there's different ways to approach this. There's the cold email sort of blasting approach, if you like the client ascension guys teach, and that's fine and that works. But I'm just talking about my journey, which was this sort of on and off, and then finally getting a break and going from 0 in the September of 2022 to hit 10K in February of 2023, just 4 months later, 5 months later. I think at the peak I did 13K maybe a month, started my ecom brand the next spring. And part of what helped me start that brand was working with the brand that was growing so fast, that I was doing the email marketing for, and learning more about ads, and learning more about branding, and learning more about what's possible with Facebook when you find a product that people want to buy, and how to build all that branding. And so that stuff's just marinating in the background, and then it can catapult you forward to that next opportunity. So that's pretty much it. If you're starting out, you need to find that opportunity. That is what it is. It's not going to be this linear thing where you make 200, 400, or 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. It's going to be nothing, little bump, nothing, bigger bump, and then like big opportunity, big client, whale of a client, another small one. One drops off, you get 2 more. That's how it's going to work out. And you need to set yourself up for that by being helpful, doing outreach, being creative, trying to hang a shingle, as they say. That means like share what you're doing on Twitter, document your journey on YouTube. These little things do add up, and then you create the opportunity, you create the conditions for luck, where when you do have that right message, or that right outreach message, or the right connection, boom, you get a chance, and you get to make some good money, and suddenly you're a full-time freelancer making 5 to 10K a month. That's how it can happen. That's how it happened for me. I'm beyond that now, and doing, a much bigger project with my brand, which maybe I'll talk about another time. But you got to start somewhere. If you've watched this far, thank you. Get after it. Don't give up. Send your messages. Send your outreach. Find your opportunities. And you can definitely do this. It took me longer. If you compress this timeline, if you get serious, I think you can do a lot in 3 months. You could definitely sign a few clients in 3 months. And if you have the limiting belief that that's not possible, I just want to tell you that it is. It is so possible to stupidly just send message, just that blind action. You almost need to turn your brain off. That was one thing Cardinal Mason said, which was just super helpful. turn your brain off. You're going to overthink it. Send messages, pitch people, get on calls, write them emails. So it doesn't have to be copywriting that you do, but at a certain point, you're going to want to just learn copywriting because it's how you do videos and ads. It's how you think about how to make attractive offers for customers and all that stuff. So hopefully that helps. I'll see you next time. Peace.